Okay, I think I'm doing good. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back once again. I am Nicodemus Kane, and we are going to have another little chat. It's the weekend, and I've got some time, and I've got some things to get off my chest. Um, if anyone has never seen one of these before, this is where I basically come on here and we talk. Um, for the past couple years, the Lord has opened my eyes to a lot of very crazy things, and I've been trying to put the pieces together. I think I have them together in my mind of what is going on, and I ask the Lord every day to give me the wisdom and give me the understanding of what exactly is happening here, and He shows me every day. He shows me a little bit more. It shows me some other things, and it has made me question a lot, and it makes me think about a lot. And the one thing I've said more than anything else was that I wanted to spread this to other people. Because if he showed me something the way that he showed me, and I was able to turn, which it blows my mind every day that he was able to turn me the way that he did, then I say, maybe it's possible that if I just try to get this stuff out this way, maybe somebody out there will hear it. Maybe they'll understand. So this is what we do. Uh, if you've made it through that far, or if you've made it this far and you've made it through that whole thing, then I like to preface this whole thing. I like to say before we do anything else that you don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to listen to a single word I say. You could think I'm the craziest person in the world. If anything I say just does not sound true or is not true, go look it up yourself. Go find out the truth in your own way. If you can prove me wrong, that you've proved me wrong. If there's anything I say that actually resonates with anybody, and it feels like the truth, which is what happened to me, a lot of things just lined up and felt like the truth, then study more. Follow it. Follow it. Follow your instincts on this. I think that's the biggest part about it is just following your instincts, trying to find out what it is that is compelling you to even think about this kind of stuff. So, with that all being said, the first bit of news I have for this week is that today we went out to I don't even know what the heck it was called. Ollie's something. It's a discount store. They basically take over stocks, things like that, and they kind of, well, they just sell it for cheaper than what it is. It's usually a pretty good place. They have a lot of great books, and sometimes you can find some toys there for pretty cheap too. They have a lot of it's not really off-brand stuff. It's just overstock stuff. It's actually a really nice place we went to. But today I found this. This is my first official Bible I've ever owned. That's mine. It's not one that somebody has given me. It's not one that I've stolen from some motel. This one's mine. We bought this one today. This is King James Version. It's red letter, which means that everything that Christ has said inside of this Bible is in red letters. And this is mine. This is a beautiful big step for me. It really is. I mean, it's not it's perfect to me. Let's put it that way. I thought my dog was getting up. It's perfect to me. It's not like it's leather bound or anything. Um, this is something good. This is something good for me, and I we almost didn't go. It was one of those kinds of things where we were getting out of my getting out of Angie B's daughter's place, and because we picked up the baby, we picked up the grandbaby, and we were driving out, and we were going to go to the. We were heading to the highway because we were going to go out to a couple different flea markets, and I was in the far lane. I was in the turn lane. I was ready to turn left, and the place where we were talking about is on the right. And I was like, man, while we're over here, we might as well go over to that one place. And he's like, sure, man, let's go do it. Why not? And that was like the only time this whole day that I was able to straight pull out of the lane and just go straight. I crossed like 3 lanes traffic, and actually 3 lanes of nothing, because it was the only time the whole day where there were no cars whatsoever. I mean, it was just like everything opened up perfectly for us just to pull out of that lane, pull straight over, pull into the other lane, and then go off and then go into the place. And we got in there, and we were looking at a couple different things, and they have a pretty large religious section. They had a lot of things. They had some really nice Bibles. They really did. They're really, really nice kind, and they were like $26. It's just crazy. And then they had like the New English version, New International versions, things like that. And I was like, well, I mean, if we can't find it here, we can't find it here. I'm gonna find one eventually, and I'm gonna like it. So we flipped the corner of the aisle, and it was more religious books there, and I just happened to catch one. I just happened to see it, and I picked it up, and I looked at it, and it said KJV, and I'm like, okay, sure, why not? Let's see what it is. And I opened it up, and it's like the first page I opened up to was like red letter, and I said, oh, okay, well, does it have a concordance in it? And sure enough, in the back, it has a concordance. It's not a Strong's, so, there's no. I know where I can get a Strong's concordance. We actually have a half price books that we saw. Big, huge, monster Strong's concordance. It's about that big. It's like $30. So I know where I can get one of those. But I was like, I mean, we found one that was like this in a Goodwill, and I was going to get it because it would have only been like $1, but I was compelled to put it down. It was not my time to pick it up. I mean, there was something about that book that just told me that I'm not supposed to have this right now. So I laid it down. But this one I was supposed to have. So this is a pretty big deal for me. I mean, it may seem like nothing to some people, but for me, this is a pretty big deal. This means something pretty big to me, and I'm pretty happy about this. I really am. It fills me up with something good to know that this happened today, and I just happened upon it. So, anyways, what I wanted to talk about, because I don't really have anything else I can show off today. Oh no, I do. Where's it at? I do have something else to show off today. We got this in the mail. I just dropped my thing. That's all right. I got this in the mail. On what was it? Tuesday, Wednesday. But this came in the mail. That's the book Jubilees. I'm happy about this. I'm like, what, man? I'm gonna wind up having a whole collection of these things. So this is, I haven't even touched this yet. I haven't got into this yet. I just I set it down because I'm still going through Jasher. And, I'm looking forward to this one. This is going to be, interesting. So we shall see what's going to happen here. We shall see what this one says to us about, what's going on with it. I still have not been able to find the whatever book it was that referenced um, King Og picking up a rock and trying to smite the Israelites with one shot. The 3 mile long rock that he picked. I still have not found that reference yet. It's somewhere, and I don't know where it is, and it's really bugging the heck out of me because I know I heard the guy say it, but I don't know where it is. So, anyways, if I find that, I'll find that. If I don't, I don't. Whatever. But yeah, no, this came in, and I'm pretty happy about this. Um, I think I'm going to have to get the Book of Jasher again because the Book of Enoch is in this format, where it's got the pictures and it's got this and it's got that, and there's this one, and then they have one that's the Book of Jasher that's the same way, and I'm like, because my Book of Jasher it's like a phone book, it's ridiculous. It was just the one that I found that was kind of the cheapest at the time, and I was like, okay, we'll just take this. And it's like, you know what? I'd rather just have the set. I like having the set. It'd be pretty nice. I'm gonna wind up, having a collection of the Apocrypha. Why not? But I was hearing a couple guys talk about the Apocrypha the other day, and there was a lot of the biggest thing about it is that there were several preachers that were saying that since God doesn't quote from the Apocrypha, then or the God, you hear me? Like Jesus never quoted from the Apocrypha, then Jesus never, he never would have recognized that. And that may be true. I don't know. I can't be for certain on that because I haven't done as much of the research. I don't, when I read these things, it's, I highlight what I think for me is important to highlight, and I can't remember like every single detail of everything. But the guy that the video I was listening to, he was saying, well, Jesus did quote the Apocrypha. He quoted Ezra 2 almost directly. Now, I don't know anything about Ezra 2. I don't know if oh my god, I've got so much crap going on here, man. I do. I've got so much stuff. Let me go to my handy dandy Apocrypha book that I got. I think I showed you guys this one. That's like the worst. There we go. Like the worst reflection in the world. Do I have Ezra's 2 in this? Yes, I do. Esdras, which is Ezra, which is pretty much what that is. I have the Wisdom of Solomon in here too, which is pretty nice. And some of these I don't know. I got the Book of first and second Book of Maccabees in here, so that's another one that I remember hearing about. But they were saying that yes, he has quoted from it. Now I don't know if it's true. Again, I listened to what he said. I haven't gone through this and through the Bible to be able to tell you. But we'll see. I mean, when it comes my time to read this monster, this is a monster. When it comes my time to read this monster, I will read this monster. But until then, all I can do is just say, it is what it is. Can't really do much about that. I had my Book of Giants over here. Man, I got so much. I need to clean up my room. Which actually leads into another thing. So we are. I've been slowly pulled towards the Torah. Now I know there's a pretty fair debate on whether we should. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We had tacos tonight, taco salad. So I'm a little burpy there, but there's kind of a debate whether we should actually follow the Torah or not. Whether the law was nailed to a cross or all that stuff. And I've been slowly pulled towards it. It's not that I've been hunting it out so much that it's just the path that I take whenever I listen to videos And whenever I reflect on what I've heard and just, listening to the Bible, as like I say, I listen 2 hours of the Bible every day at work. But as I've been listening to it and as I've been going through, that's just the way that I've been steered, I guess. It's the way that's been kind of pulling me. It's been pulling me towards that. So I've been kind of looking into it. And the biggest thing, more than anything else that I can kind of understand, is the law itself is the Ten Commandments. And, there's several other, well, I'm going to say several other, there's dozens of other laws, that are for specific ideas and values and things like that. And the only other ones that I can really find that mean something, I mean, they all mean something, but I mean, that really strike home is, to be able to hold the Sabbath and, hold the feasts. Because God gave us these feasts, these times that we can rest and honor his name and the whole thing. And so, we kind of have a problem with the Sabbath. We had to talk about this in some other video I did where I said, do you really know what time it is? What day it is? Can you really trust a calendar? All that kind of stuff. And the biggest problem I have found is I can't find two different people that agree. I mean, I can find different people that agree, but you know what I mean. I just can't. I can't seem to find a perfect calendar to all this. Because somebody says you're supposed to follow this whatever it is, quarter moon during this kind of thing and something like this, or it's constantly on this day, or it's on this, it does that, or maybe there's even a floating Sabbath and only it goes by the you start at a certain point, it's every 7 days from that point. It may not fall on a weekend, and it's just like my thing. And my thing, and I have not been compelled either way. This is just the way I've always kind of done it, and it makes sense to me, and I'm not being convicted of it. Is that I work Monday through Friday, and my Saturday is my day off. I get up Saturday, I come downstairs, I rest, I play games, I go out, do whatever, and that's my day of rest. Sunday, I go back to work. Now, this was way before I even thought about like Saturday being a Sabbath, because I always knew Sunday wasn't the real day. We always kind of knew that, and that the Jews had this completely different thing, and they seem to know what they're talking about, this whole deal. And but my whole thing has been, Saturday's my day off. I don't do much anything. And if I do something, if I do any work on Saturday, it's for me. I don't do work for anybody else on Saturday. Now, if I do work on Saturday, then Sunday's my day off. It is what it is. I have to have at least that one day where I don't do dick. I just have to lay down and do nothing. If I work, then I work. It is what it is. That's just the way my life has been. But Sunday is the days that I do work. I'll do work around the house. I'll do my laundry. I do this, I do that. I did some work this morning, but I changed the oil in my car, but that was for me. That was my work. I didn't do work for anybody else today. There was nothing I did today that was for anybody else. And that's just the way I've been. And I've never really felt convicted to like completely take that day off. It's just, it is the way it is. Now, if I go down this path, and if God starts convicting me to do different things, then we'll talk. I'll start figuring this out, because it is what it is. But He's been compelling me to do this, to at least look into these Torah things, and I've been well, I've always known that the holidays of Rome have always been a joke. I've always known them. I've become extremely disenfranchised by them, especially over the past couple of years. They just have not held their. They've just not held their luster like they used to. Christmas has not held its luster like it used to. When Halloween became mainstream, I gave up on it. I was like, man, this is dumb. Dressing up doesn't work for me anymore. Passing candy out to kids just feels dirty, I guess. As I've gotten older, it's just been like, whatever. I'd rather just stay at home and do nothing. Easter has never been a holiday for me because I don't understand what all the little rituals that we do. I don't understand what it has to do with Jesus resurrecting. What does an egg and a bunny have to do with Jesus resurrecting? I've never understood that. So Easter's never been my holiday. I've never cared. And then Valentine's Day has just been like, bleh, why do you have to take the one day out of the year to tell somebody you love somebody? I said it's completely ridiculous. And then turning it the other way around is like, why do you have to take that one day to tell somebody that you love them? Why can't you just go up and talk to them, any day of the year? Why does it have to be on Valentine's Day where you have to tell your secret admirer that you have to do this? Now, of course, there's reasons to that, and I have gone through that somewhere on some video. I don't want to go through it again. We know now that, Valentine's Day is Lupercalia, and Easter is the worship of Ishtar, and Halloween is All Hallows Eve, and Christmas is Saturnalia. We know this now. So that's just the way it is. So I've been pulled towards Passover because Passover is one of the spring feasts. Now, I'm not perfect on this. I'm not perfect on this. Because this is all brand new to me. I don't know any of it. Seriously, I've only been really following. That is my dog. I heard a noise. I was like, shit, what is that? But no, it's her. You want to come down with me? Come on. But I've never followed any of this stuff like this. So it's just kind of like I'm learning as I go, pretty much. So I said, well, why doesn't this just be the first Passover? Because I'm not celebrating holidays this year. I'm not. Valentine's Day went through and I was like, whatever. Easter's coming up and I'm letting, even though I can't tell her no. She's having a hard time with this because she's, that cognitive dissonance, that pull is strong. Believe me. I told Angie, I said, if you need to go celebrate Easter with your family, I understand. You can go do that. Come here. Come on. She still hasn't come down the stairs yet. Come on. But I said, I can't go because I don't believe it. It's a pagan holiday. And I am being convicted to not care. I am absolutely being convicted to just not give a crap about it. Come on. You have gotten up here before. Come on. There you go. It's my dog. You can see her. And, Halloween, I've just about given up on. Really, I have. I'm not going to be able to keep her from passing out candy to kids. And Christmas is going to be a nightmare. We're going to figure that one out as we go. But I can't celebrate Christmas anymore either. It's gotten to the point to where it's just like I can't do this. And I've already had people say, "Oh, you don't have to worry about that. It's not what you think it is." That's what her stepdad told me last year. Well, it's not what you think it is. I'm like, It's exactly what I think it is. I mean, it really is. You just take 2 seconds to look up what this holiday actually means, and yeah, it is. And I have been slammed in the face with so many Bible verses lately about God specifically calling out not to do these things. And it's like, what am I supposed to do here? Uh, God has come into my life. The Lord is absolutely come into my life. And he said, look, I'm going to change you. And he changed me. He changed me in wondrous ways. And now he's like, look, I don't want you doing this anymore. So what am I supposed to do? You know, I am supposed to be in the world, but not of the world. I'm not supposed to be a part of the world. So I literally says, do not do as the pagans do. So we're gonna demand when Christmas comes. I don't know what that's going to test a lot of people's strengths, but I could be wrong. I could very well be wrong, and everybody might say, well, that just means you're missing out on all the good. If I'm not missing out on anything. I already said I'm not missing out on anything. What am I missing out on Valentine's Day? Nothing. I tell my woman I love her every day. I buy her gifts all the time. I will go out and buy her some roses right now if you want me to. It does not matter. It really doesn't. Easter, jelly beans. I bought myself some jelly beans. So what? Big deal. Chocolate bunnies. I can just go buy chocolate anytime I want to. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need it anyways. Look at me. I'm a big guy. I mean, I need to lose weight. Hell. Halloween, candy. What am I missing out on? Dressing up and going to a Halloween party where I could probably wind up getting drunk and either cheating on her or doing something stupid. I mean, seriously. And then Christmas, what, presents? There's a lot of traditions cut up in Christmas, and Christmas it's going to be a problem because we do the movies. We do the movies. We do we read the book, before Christmas Eve, and we do the presents and the whole thing, and now it's just like I don't have to do it that way. I don't want to do it that way. I don't want to do this stuff anymore. I just have absolutely been compelled to not want to care about this anymore, and that's just the way it is. So, it is what it is, and I want to go scream it from the mountaintops. I want to go tell my mom. I want to go tell my dad. I want to just say, look, guys, this is not what we should be doing. You have been brainwashed into it just like I have, and once you get away from it, it's such a freeing experience. It opens it. Not only does it open your mind, it opens your heart. It's very freeing. It is. And yes, I do still have a cognitive dissonance pull on certain things, but honestly, I don't need it. So what do I do? If I pop all my holidays off, even Thanksgiving and 4th of July are friggin' associated with paganistic nonsense. So if I just throw all this stuff off, then what do I do? Well, we have feasts. We have the feast of the Lord. He gave us feasts. He gave us spring feasts and he gave us fall feasts. And I don't know. I really don't know them. I mean, I'm trying to, but we're going to try Passover this year. We're going to try it. We're going to see what happens. I can't promise that it'll work the way he wants us to, but it's I ordered a book like Passover for Beginners. It's from a YouTube guy that he kind of went through, trying to explain how you're supposed to do it, what you're supposed to do. I don't know if we're not going to be able to keep every single bit of it, but I can tell you what, having a week where you avoid yeast, that doesn't sound so bad. It really doesn't. I've heard a lot of guys say that, you the first the first thing that the Lord asks you to do through the year is to spend a week purging yourself of yeast. Because yeast isn't, I mean, it's not really the best thing in order for you. You're basically getting this any time you do anything for 7 days. Now, if you fast for 7 days, if you go on a certain diet for any time you do anything for 7 days, it usually takes 7 days for something to completely pass out of your system. Whenever you have a cold, you usually hold that cold for 7 days, and usually by the end of that 7 days, it's out. Now, some people are different. For me, I'm just saying. Usually, when I have a cold, I have like 1 or 2 days, maybe 2 or 3 days where I feel like crap, and then like the 4 days after that, I'm cleaning out. That's what I call as my clean out days, because you're just like you're getting all the mucus and the nonsense out of you, and it just feels like crap. Sometimes it goes for an extra week. That happens. But most of the times it's usually about a week. You just get sick and you're just like, okay, well it's what, like Friday. It's Friday. I'm gonna be sick until next Friday, and then by next Friday I'll be clear. That means I can have the weekend. It usually happens like that. But I tend to notice that it usually takes a week to completely clean yourself out. You can go for a week where you drink nothing but water, and by the end of that week, you feel great. You're amazed. Yeah, it's amazing. You've completely flushed yourself out. So when I heard them say the first thing you do, or the first thing the Lord wants you to do, is to clean yourself out of leavening, of yeast, or there was something else to it too. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's a system clean, is what it is. You're cleaning out your system, and not only that, but it's spiritually, it's cleaning out sin from your thoughts and from your heart, and you're cleaning out sin and leavening from your house. It's a spring cleaning. It's what it is. It's a spring cleaning. It's a fresh start on a new year. You're getting all this stuff out so that you can start the year fresh. My God, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It makes so much sense. It's so ridiculous. I've gone through this before, where I have said, it's amazing the stuff that's in the Bible that He tells us to do. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do that, don't eat this, don't wear this, don't do this. Everything He tells us to do has some kind of health benefit to it. It's wild. It's absolutely wild when you really think about it. And that's just part of it. It's like the first thing He does for the beginning of the year, which the beginning of the year is around April, is He says, clean yourself out. Start fresh. And that's crazy. It's wild. I was telling Angie that I may have already started. About a week ago, I I was straight up compelled to get rid of a lot of garbage in my house. Um, I have no problem talking about it either. He he basically told me that I needed to purge myself of all of the porn that's in my house. It's what I've done. I I have let's put a had because it's not here anymore because I threw it all out. Had a pretty massive collection from the time I was a teenager, from the time I understood exactly what it was to now. Magazines and videotapes. Ugh, God. So many videotapes. I was a single man. I was a single man and I had disposable income. And I don't even remember when the first tape came in, the first suggestion came in, But I started getting like you get the catalogs in, and you're just like, oh, why not? What the hell? You order tape here, you order tape there, and it just builds up and it builds up, and then you got the stuff that you've recorded on, recorded off of somewhere, and you got the tapes that I had tapes that were given to me from a guy at work. I think I might have paid him $10 for them or something. Just completely ridiculous nonsense. And I had tapes from high school that some kid gave me, and I had other tapes too that I had picked up along the way. Most of them they're just garbage. You don't even watch them. Other ones I have distinct memories of. That's the way it works. But I had magazines that we had. My buddy, because he looked like he was overage, he'd walk into a like a little shop and bop, buy a magazine. And we'd have a magazine, and I'd had that here, and it was, but God was whispering in my ear, get rid of it. Get rid of all of it. Wipe it. Get it out of there. I had already gotten rid of a lot of the digital stuff because I had stuff. There was problems. I got rid of all that stuff, and then he said, you need to get rid of the physical stuff too. You need to get rid of all your tapes. Get rid of everything. Get rid of all the tapes, all the magazines. There was a couple other little evil things that he told me to get rid of. So I popped it all up and I put it all into a trash bag, and I just took it right out, threw it in the trash, and never looked back. There was a good, oh man, that was good. I calculated it had to have been $150, $160, anywhere between $120 and $160 worth of porn that I'd spent on those videos. It's just nuts. That's just nuts. Not to mention what we may have spent on those magazines, because we paid for some of those magazines. And I've heard of other guys that have gotten rid of massive amounts. Like guys that would have paid, money for like custom videos. You just think of what you could have done with that money, So I did it. That was something I was compelled to do last week. Not this. I guess would have been 2 weeks ago. I don't know, it was on a trash day, and Angie remembers exactly when it was, because she was like, oh yeah, that was the day where you said you had to go downstairs and get that big trash bag. I was like, yeah, that was the day. I had a big old trash bag. I came down and I threw all that crap in there, and I'd never looked back. There's still some in this house, and I have to find it. And I decided that when Easter Monday, the day you get off from work for Easter, when that comes around, that's going to be a day where I keep busy. That's going to be a day where I work, so I don't get a holiday. I'm just going to work that day. And I'm going to clean this room up, and I'm going to try to get all my crap out, because we still have a Ouija board floating around somewhere, and I need to get that out of here. I don't know where it is. We found it at a Goodwill for like $2. Or no, it wasn't two. Well, it might have been $2. It was one of those ones where you pay by the pound. It's floating around. I need to get it the hell out of here. I don't know where it is. Decided to hide from me. But, there's other things too I can get rid of that if I look really hard, I could probably find them. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to do for what everybody says. Easter, for Ishtar, for Azeroth. It's wild, man. It's wild. It's actually in the Bible. I don't remember what passage it was. I swear if I knew the passage, I'd look it up right now. I probably should. I could probably look it up right here. But it's wild how the Bible gets very specific when it comes to okay. when it comes to telling you what not to follow, we've already done the whole where in the hell is it? But when it comes to like being extremely specific, did make cakes worse. Here we go. I'm looking. I'm sorry. Okay, so here we go. Um, Jeremiah 44:15 through 30. And this is actually not even the one that I was thinking about, because there's one that I know says, the children go out and pick up sticks for fires, and the men do something, and the women stay in and make cakes for the Queen of Heaven. And something yada yada yada, and it turns out to be her name is Azeroth. And it's like, wow, you've got to be kidding me. And it turns out, like I said, Azeroth happens to be Isis, happens to be Ishtar. So we're gonna read, okay? Like I said, this is Jeremiah 44. This is 15. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoke unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto thee. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, which is Isis, Ishtar, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done. We and our fathers, our kings and our princes, in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out our drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have consumed by the sword and by the famine. We're getting there. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven, and poured out drink offerings to her, did we make her cakes to worship her, and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men? So this is basically the women saying, when we burn the incense to the Queen of Heaven, and then we pour out drink offerings to her, then we made cakes to worship her as well. And that was part of the whole, like I said, they were, the children were going gathering wood, and the men were doing something, and the women were baking cakes to the Queen of Heaven. And then it went on to say something about Astaroth. I wish I could remember that one. I have not been able to sit down and I'm going to highlight so much of this book. This is my book. This book and we are going to we're going to get there. This book and I are going to by the end of this whole thing, man, we're just gonna, it's gonna be awesome. It's really going to be awesome. But that was part of it, that's part of this whole thing, is that they're going off and they're making cakes to this Queen of Heaven, which, like I said, is Ishtar. And of course, Angie was talking about going and making these resurrection cakes. Is that a thing? Or crucifixion cakes or something? Some kind, I don't know what the hell she was calling them. And I told her that quote, and she was like, "Oh, well, I guess I'm not doing that anymore." Now she's having a hard time with it. She's not enjoying it. And I was telling her about the 40 days of Lent. There's nothing in the Bible about 40 days of Lent. There's something about Moses spending 40 days in the wilderness, but there's, nothing about, nowhere in the book does it say anything about us having to starve ourselves for 40 days. Um, Even though it's interesting that the worshippers of Tammuz and who else was there? Was it Ishtar? Or not Ishtar? You hear me? I know part of it was Tammuz was he was killed by a boar, and they would weep for him for 40 days. Um, it was a system of mourning. You look this stuff. I had to look this stuff up today, and she didn't want to hear it, so I couldn't really talk to her about it. Because, like I said, she's having a problem with it. We had like a breakdown today between the two of us. I don't think this is going to wind up splitting us apart. Um, but it's something that we're going to have to go through slowly. But I had to look it up today to see what it was because we were talking about Lent and we were talking about eating ham. And it turns out that, the 40 days was the 40 days of weeping for Tammuz, who was killed by a boar. And at the end of this 40 days, sure enough, you go kill a pig and you eat it. And I'm like, man, we always have ham on Easter. That's what you do on Easter. You eat ham on Easter. And when I was a kid, I always thought that was like the biggest slap in the world to Jewish people because the Jews supposedly killed Christ, and I always thought that was a slap in the face to them because they don't eat ham. So we go and eat ham because Jesus came back to life. That's what I always thought it was. Seriously, that's the reason I thought you ate ham on Easter was because he proved them wrong. So, pig. Seriously, I can't even make that stuff up. That's what I thought. So, it was one of those things, and I had to look it up today just to confirm to myself because when you hear something on YouTube, if you don't go look it up for yourself, then you're doing yourself a great disservice. And sure enough, I happened to find it, and it's like it just makes so much sense, so much crazy sense. And then there's the whole eggs as the fertility goddess, the whole thing, and then the what was it, the fertility egg that came down from the moon, supposedly birthed Tammuz or Nimrod or whoever the hell you want to put the name on it. I don't know what it is. Then of course they used to worship the rabbits that day because the rabbits are the most fertile mammal in the animal kingdom. Yada yada yada. You get it. You get the point. So it's just crazy. What would be nuts? What if kangaroos are an adaptive species of rabbits? Think about that. Just mull that over in your head for a second. Kangaroos are an adaptive species of rabbits. And I'm not talking about evolution. For anybody that's watched any of these, I don't believe in evolution at all. Not anymore. It's that stuff's completely out of the window. I am a 6,000 year guy. I might be turning into a 10,000 year guy, but 6,000 years right now seems to work for me. And I believe in adaptive evolution, if you want to call it that, adaptation more than anything else. And I think it's entirely possible that monkeys devolved from humans. It's possible. But what if a kangaroo is an adaptive form of a rabbit? Because rabbits multiply like crazy. And they say that it only takes 4 generations of a dog to be able to create a new breed of dog. So how long must it take to create a new breed of rabbits? And if they multiply that much, how long can it, how long can you do that? You look at things like the kangaroo, which even though the kangaroo has a long tail, they still jump on their back legs. They have the ears, and it looks weird. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. It could be. I don't know. It was a tangent. I like to go on, if for anybody that's watching these, I like to go on tangents. But anyways, I don't know. We're doing Passover. That's just all there is to it. We're not going to do it perfectly. I know we're not. We can't go slaughter a lamb and then wipe the blood on the house because, this isn't our house. We rent this house. So, and that's me yawning. It's like it's 11:44 at night, and I decided to do this before I went to sleep. So it is what it is. And I'm probably not gonna get to record any. I'm probably not gonna get to record any games tonight. I was wanting to do that, but oh well. It is what it is. Other than all that goodness, I wanted to talk about the reversal of the world, how things have flipped upside down, but I'm not going to have any time to do it because there's too much to it. It's just how, the world says that the way everything works, with evolution and how everything came into existence and all this stuff and what they say this and that is, and you read the Bible and it's completely backwards from what they say. And a lot of people say, well, that's just because the Bible's wrong, because the Bible doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Everything in the world is the way it is, and yada yada yada. You can think that, you can think whatever the hell you want to, but it doesn't make sense. The world does not make sense to me anymore. That's the whole reason why I started doing this stuff, because it doesn't make sense anymore. It really doesn't. So, I was kind of doing that, thinking about that. But I think I've got some more ideas of stuff that I need to kind of go through and put together in my head before I do it. So, it is what it is. So I'll get around to it eventually, I'm sure. You guys can hear that I'm unwrapping something. So, this is me dropping stuff now. But other than that, I think that's all I really wanted to say. I mean, there's really nothing else to say, I'm just kind of like, it is what it is, and I don't really have anything else. That's just the way it is. I really don't have anything else. So, it just kind of, I know we started off pretty strong there, and then we just kind of fizzled out because I'm getting tired. I should probably just go upstairs and go to bed. We're thinking about going to a local comic convention tomorrow. It's nothing big. It's not like there's going to be anything big there. It'll just be a bunch of guys trying to sell $1 books. Actually, it'll be a bunch of guys trying to sell $1 books, and everybody else will be trying to sell overpriced books. And that's usually what these things are, or overpriced toys. There's always the one guy that just happens to have like every Japanese import toy in the world, and he's charging like $500 for each of them. That's true story. You're running a 30 to 40 table low end comic convention inside of a Ramada Inn, and you're trying to charge people $300 for that Masterpiece Soundwave that's inside of an open box. I can't. That doesn't work, man. But every now and then you'll find the guy that has like, you know, 30 long boxes of $1 books that you spend the whole day digging through, and you find, the one or two comics that you're really looking for. I don't do that anymore. I'm nitpicking at this point because I've got all the comics I could really want. Or I've got all the comics that I can afford. Let's put it that way. Because at this point, in order to finish off entire runs, I'd have to start digging into the wallet, and I can't do that. It's just not possible. So, I picked up a lot of books from the 90s that I used to really like. It's been really cool, and there's a couple different things I need to pick up, but honestly, I can't justify a lot of garbage like that. Trying to dig through those, but we're gonna go do that tomorrow morning. And we're also talking. Supposedly there's guitar convention too. A guitar convention. They are going to have guitars inside of, I think it's at a high school or something, some kind of building. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it's going to work either. But we're talking about going to that as well, and I'm like, I got a busy day tomorrow, so we'll see. We'll see what we do. I got to go to bed though. Thank you guys for listening, at least. It's like I said, I get on these and I just try to figure out what's going on. Because it all rolls around in my head. And I ask God every day to help me try to figure it out. And He does. He does. I have definite, He's definitely shown me what's up. I just need to get it out of my head, and hopefully it'll touch somebody somewhere. Like I said, because I can't be the only one going through this. I really can't, and I know I'm not, because there's so many other people that are being woke up to it. But I can't be the only one that is sitting here thinking, there's something wrong with the world. Why is it this wrong? And hey, look, there's a reason there. Tell me more. So hopefully this resonates with you. Resonates with anybody that's listening to this. Hopefully you understand. Some days I don't understand, but hopefully somebody else can understand. Other than that, I always say like, comment, subscribe, or don't. And until next time, I wish you all well in all your future endeavors, and I hope that the world lasts for you. God bless. Take care. Really, bless you guys. Seriously, if you made it through this far, you got a pretty strong will about yourself. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. There's a lot of other stuff, but we'll save that for next week. Where I'll go through it. Some interesting things. I don't know if it means anything, but just interesting things. So you guys stay tuned. Love you guys. Take care. And I'll see you then. Take it easy.